So Chris, I just want to say thank you for being here. When we started this, Eric and I made a list of all the people that we wanted on here, you know, mentors, teachers, coaches, thought leaders, and you are absolutely one of the top of the list. And when I met you, Sam Nicholson from Grand Canyon, he sent me a message and said, hey, I'm nominating Chris for Bold. He would be just amazing for this. You and I chatted. You were like, I'm all in. But Angie had sent you a surprise birthday party. So you were supposed to go in like April. Next thing we knew, it was like the year later. And I remember, Chris, when you came into Bold, you know, here you were in the construction industry. And in the construction industry, typically we don't have people who are just hungry to better themselves. It's more of a transaction, right? You do the work, you move on, you do the work, you move on. But you were different. And you were just this hungry, humble student that, and I always say, it's like you have the, sometimes, well, you don't really have the tough exterior, although sometimes you put that, you have such a teddy bear inside. And the culture that you have created at Karma, you've created people just like you, that when they come in, when we get to know them, they have this hungry and humble mindset. And so I'm so excited to talk about breakthrough moments and what creates them, because you're living that. So before we get into that, just I would love to open it up to you. Tell us a little bit about you, where you come from, and we'll start from there.
Sure, let's start with yeah, it was a birthday party, but it was pretty much a delay tactic that I wanted to put off coming to a class because I didn't know really what it was all about. Okay. Shame on me because it was a year wasted that I didn't go through the class. So yeah, Chris Rowe, I'll introduce everyone here. I grew up in Minnesota. I had the most phenomenal parents in the whole world. Everybody complains I had a bad childhood. Well, I'm on the other side. I had a phenomenal childhood. It was amazing. Struggled a little bit through high school. Girls and pickup trucks and all this other fun stuff of being a boy in the Midwest was more important to me than education or anything else. So coming out of high school into college, didn't really want to apply myself and got into the trades as a carpenter. And I found I could make a difference being a carpenter. I could work harder than everybody else and I was being noticed. And that just drove me from there, from being a carpenter apprentice. Living in Minnesota, came to Las Vegas in 2002. I worked my way from a carpenter apprentice to a superintendent to a foreman, every operation and piece of a construction company, all the way up to now an owner with my wife, Angie.
So what created the passion that you have about breakthrough moments in life and what creates them? Why are you so passionate about that topic?
You know, soft skills training really, and I think I went to my first one was Landmark Forum. If anybody's went to it, I learned a little bit about soft skills training and I thought, wow, I actually got, and then Dale Carnegie as well. Dale Carnegie was great and realized I was sent there more for anger management than I was for leadership skills, but ended up being the best in class and realized, wow, there's some power in people, right? More than you can teach a trade to be a carpenter or a estimator or an expert at Excel. The power of people and what you can get from them, you can take so much and go forward with it. And it just became natural to me to speak with people and found out, wow, this is an amazing skill that I had that I didn't even know I had, to chat with people and bring them to their next level.
So who introduced you to soft skills? Who introduced you to the Landmark and the Dale Carnegie?
Dale Carnegie, I was kind of sent there for anger management because I was kind of a young, kind of a prick, so to say. And I went reluctantly if I wanted to kind of keep my job. And from there, I took on every soft skills thing I could do after I learned what I learned from Dale Carnegie.
Isn't it crazy how when adversity strikes, and I always say anger management, it goes right back into adversity because something happens, right? Something happens that wakes us up and it shifts us, but it opens a door if we're open to something different. But the thing is, Chris, that was always inside of you. And, you know, I don't know if you saw Dante last week. We talked about how a child's brain, even a young adult, your brain isn't fully developed till you're 25 years old. Right. So everything that you are motivated and working towards is emotion, right? It's whatever is
Right.
now. And so the rational side doesn't show up until around 25. Was that around the same time you were going to jail?
That exactly was the time. That was exactly the time, Mary, that side came out, and never knew it. Never knew it. It came out unexpectedly. But it's an amazing, amazing thing. And you talk about like a breakthrough moment. That's my first breakthrough of, wow, I have this an amazing energy and this amazing thing, an amazing way to communicate with people that I didn't even know I had.
Yeah.
And how cool it was to start to enjoy some of the things that I was missing. You know, you say you have your blinders on. It felt like it opened you up to so much more and so many more things around you that are self-rewarding as well.
Well, in those breakthrough moments, adversity, it really develops this character. And, you know, talk about the failure or the pain. People, we don't like to necessarily fail. We don't necessarily like the pain of it. Yet when we're willing to go through it, what we find and what we discover in who we truly are, we can start building on top, because that doesn't just go, oh, there's a brand new skill I'm going to teach you. There was something already in you, Chris, that it just tapped into, and it opened you up.
Yeah, it does. And then all of a sudden you're enjoying this newfound talent and this newfound thing you have, and you're excelling in your relationships, you're excelling in your work, you're excelling in things. And then all of a sudden there's an overwhelming responsibility to share that with others. It's kind of like telling somebody, you got to go to Bold. You got to go to Bold. You want to share it because it's so special, but you have to live it. You have to live it along with them and allow them the opening to have that chance in their life.
Mm.
So it's nothing you can force upon somebody. It's something they have to see for themselves. We talk about change and breakthroughs, and a lot of people make change because they want to leave an environment that it's not good. I got to change because I'm uncomfortable, whether it be a work environment or relationship. And then there's other people that want to make a change because somebody chicken winged them, right? Said, hey,
Right.
you're, you know, I think you'd be good at this, and you should make a change. And then there's other people that just have a super self-confidence that, no, I can do this. And then I always call the other one, the last one, the most crazy one. We do it because we just want to take a leap of faith.
That's right.
Right? We just take a leap of faith and say, I'm going to do this because I want to know what's on the other side. What's different?
So which category do you fall into?
Definitely the last one. I'm always curious as to what's more. And as I've gotten older, I've learned that it's really neat to just test others and find out why they want change, and then understand that they may need that chicken wing. But when they really get down to it, people see something better in themselves, and they also see that I want to see what's on the other side myself.
So what happens when, because you run a company and you have this, well, not newfound now, it was back then, but it's something that I remember in Bold, you just said, I love giving people chances, people who maybe don't even understand, they're just hungry, they want to do something, but they don't necessarily know who and what they truly are capable of. So
Right.
How do you chicken wing people when they act like they're not ready, or maybe they feel like they're not ready to step in?
That's super hard, Mary, and I'm glad you asked the question, because as these are your employees, they're your friends, your family, you're going to have to put them in an environment where they're uncomfortable. And they may have to fail. And as their leader, you don't want them to fail. So you think about, how am I holding this person back because I care so much about them, or I don't want them to fail? You know, where are our faults there? How can I give them just enough that they succeed, but I just don't let them have their breakthrough, their opportunity? It's a super delicate balance, and it's something I take very seriously.
You know, I was talking to, actually, I can't break confidentiality, but I was talking to someone who knows you, and they said that Chris Rowe has been someone who never took their voice away. That whether you agree with them or not, you still gave them wings to fly. You still honor their voice, at the same time teaching them a different way. And
Yeah.
and that's who you are. And I look at, you know, I've had the opportunity to know you for 2.5 years. And there are some people on here who've known you for a lot longer than that. And I always say, you know, at Bold, I get the opportunity to see the heart, like the core of a human being. And it's not just your heart there, it's who you've been for the last 2.5 years. and you're hungry and you go 100 miles an hour and you're the one that's like, what's on the other side of that breakthrough? I'm going to find out, because at times you're like the bull in the china shop. But at the same time, you're the humble, hungry leader that if someone gives you feedback, you might not like it at first, but you will absolutely step back and go, okay, teach me.
I absolutely I hate the feedback, Mary. And you know what? You could probably tell I'm the one who talks all the time over everyone during every one of our staff meetings, because I care about them and I want to push my agenda. But honest to God, I do listen, like you just said, and I may not take it away right away, but in time you do. And them are the great parts that you learn from people, right? That you digest. It takes it, us as leaders, we always want to solve a problem right there on the spot all the time. Everybody says, listen before you talk. Some of us don't. I'm one of them people, and I'm still training myself to be better at it. But there is a lot of takeaway. Sometimes it takes time for people to process. Even if they say, yes, I understand, maybe they don't. It takes time for people to process. I want you to go both. Okay, I want to go. Oh my gosh, what did they just tell me to do? I want you to go do this task. Okay, I'll do it. Are they doing it because they have to or told? Or are they doing it because they're really curious on the inside? And once you find that passion in someone that says, I want to do it, I want to try it, I want to step out, I have no fear. And we learn some of the valuable traits and soft skills of fail forward, fail fast, all these things. And that's the other one, right? People are afraid of failure. Afraid of failure is one of the things that hold people back in their life. So what now? What? Move on. So what now? What?
There's a story, and I'm not sure if I shared it in your bold class. Once in a while, it'll come out. It's just like the right time. But what you just said reminds me of the story. And it goes how this man, he sees this butterfly that's emerging from a cocoon. You know the story?
Yeah.
And he's looking at this butterfly who is like, it's taking all this time to emerge from the cocoon. So he thinks, well, I'm going to help this butterfly out. So he takes a pair of scissors and he snips off the cocoon, knowing that he is going to help this butterfly emerge quickly so he can hurry up and spread his wings and fly. Yeah. But what he didn't realize, as he snips off the cocoon, this butterfly emerges quickly, but it's crippled and it can't fly, because it's actually the struggle of going through the cocoon that pushes the fluid into the wings so it can learn how to fly. And I always love that story, because it talks about, in our haste as leaders, as parents, as role models, as mentors, we want so badly for someone else. We see their potential. We don't want them to struggle. And so we want to clip off that cocoon and help them spread their wings faster. But we actually hamstring them and we cripple them from being what they truly can.
That's a great analogy, Mary, and very, very well put. And that's the overwhelming responsibility of a leader, to understand when you're supposed to not clip.
Right. So talking about clipping and not clipping, you started CARMA a year and a half ago.
Yes.
And gangbusters, I look at you as a leader in the construction industry just because of who you are, the things that I've heard. In fact, I don't know if I'm going to tell this story, and forgive me if I'm not supposed to. So I talk about a leader in the construction industry, and I heard a story about how you actually had done a job and it was ahead of schedule, and the company went to pay you money, and you returned a portion of the money because you said, no, we don't, that's not what we charged you for. That's not what our contract was. And we did this ahead of schedule.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. And that just kind of goes along with being who you are and transparent. Everybody can say they talk the talk, but you really got to walk the walk. Yeah. And when it walks the walk, it comes down to not only the word. You can sell something all day long to a customer, but being right there with that customer to the end of their project and making sure, you know what, I don't need this. You may have been ahead of schedule, whatever. I didn't need that money. I'm here for a long-term relationship. Our company is very selective in who we work with, and them are long-term relationships, and we're going to keep them that way. And that's by being transparent with our owners and them customers every single day. Not every job comes in ahead of schedule and under budget. Let's be honest. If they did, that's a farce. But being transparent and open along the way develops that relationship with that client. Just no difference than the one with you, Mary. It's about a transparent relationship that you can be open and honest. and get to know a person for knowing a person, not just for a benefit of something.
Such a difference between a transactional relationship and a transparent relationship.
That's right. That's exactly it.
When I was jumping into starting Karma a year and a half ago and leading with that story because you went gangbusters. In that first year of your business, the doors that opened, the people that were joining your team, it's because of that transparent relationship that you're willing to do whatever it takes from integrity and this humility piece, right? And then you have the pandemic hit. How did you have to pivot and shift, and how has that changed your relationships?
You know, it's been challenging as it is for everybody during this pandemic, but the true partnerships have been amazing. These are the people that I've taken care of for not just the last couple of years of owning this business, but for over the years. I've now got them people contacting me, and saying, how can we help you? And these are customers that, well, we don't have $100 million to spend, but we got 5 this year. Chris, we want to help your company to succeed through this. It was very overwhelming. We've been very fortunate to be able to keep what we have and keep things going during this process. And that's humbling to me that you always say that, oh, it's great, you do all these things, but when somebody starts to give the favor back to you, it'll pull a tear out of your eye. And how blessed and fortunate we are.
But it's because of you as a leader, and I go all the way back to, around 25 years old, when you go to Dale Carnegie because of anger management, you had a choice. And we all have a choice on the things that happen in our life. You can choose to embrace it, to learn from it, or you can choose to get angry, quit your job, go someone else. I don't need someone to tell me about how to do that. But because of your willingness to embrace, it's a lesson that you have continued to build upon and teach others all the way through to where you're at today. And
yeah, for sure. And it's almost contagious, right? So it's a culture. It's a culture. And even some of the people that look from the outside and, want to join our company, we interview them, and sometimes I wonder if they leave here that they think we have a cult or something, because we're so dedicated to each other. And it's a culture that it just spills out. It spills out to our customers and clients. And even during the times when we started our business and there was no great talent or help, we had a list of people that are on a waiting list to come to work for our organization. It's pretty overwhelming. And these are some people that we know directly or second or third tier. Hey, I want to be a part of that. So it really got to the point where I said, you know what, I'm going to make a deal with you. I'm going to hire you right now on date to be determined. Here's what it's going to be. I'll let you know when the stars align. And that's how we gained a lot of our employees in the first year of our business. Every single person was handpicked. Now that created a culture that was just absolutely amazing, that people would support each other. They're not friends just inside of work here. These people know each other, their whole families outside of work. It's a big, huge culture that is contagious. And I see that culture spill off into our owners, our subcontractors, and other people that we work for. On the moment's notice, I can pick up the phone and call anybody to help our project or get what we need because of them relationships. And they know, hey, I'm going to ask you to do $100,000 work on a handshake today because we got to get it done. Just send your insurance over and we'll move forward. Yeah, we can get it done. And it's worked for years, and it's very, very contagious.
So what is your culture, and how have you created that?
I don't think we created it intentionally. It just happens with being who we are, and it attracts the right people around us. Our cultures, I can give the speech of, we take care of our customers first, and obviously we do. We take care of this first, we obviously do, but we live it. And really allowing an organization that's fed from the bottom up instead of the top down has been amazing, right? Some of the best ideas come from the people on the lowest part of the line, right? And seeing their ideas and allowing them to be heard, not only by myself, but by others in the organization, has created some super unique ideas and some fun stuff we're going to be doing in the future that I won't share today, that just our leaders and change the industry, right? Our industry is outdated technology-wise. Our industry is the same over and over. We want to push that envelope. Even though we're small, we're mighty. We want to do some new things, have others follow us.
So
That
how,
creates that culture of people continually in a learning environment. So all the time, everyone's at a learning environment here. It's about family. We support, we allow, we encourage all ideas. Are they all good? Heck no, but mine aren't either.
and you're willing to admit that?
Well, just to you.
Well, this is live. Now the leadership team knows. So how do you empower, when you talk about the bottom up, how do you empower them to share their ideas, to learn, to get them uncomfortable?
You know, it's not a sit down meeting to be uncomfortable. It's just interacting and working with them on a daily basis. You know, as Angie and I are a smaller organization, we have a huge benefit of being hands-on leaders, right? We're hands-on, we're involved in the projects, we're working with people. It's constantly giving them more rope and letting them go, letting them have their own ideas. And that comes the balance we talked about, holding somebody back. You care about someone so much. You want them to go, but you know they're going down a road that's so wrong. But if you pull them back, they also might have a breakthrough moment that you're just holding them back. So let them go to the point of not falling. Delegate and elevate. Letting go the vine. That's the hardest thing for any leader, right? So something we work at every day. But then I find about coming back and having that discussion with that person. Yep, you know what? You did fall down a little bit there. And that's okay. That's okay. We won't let you fall down and hurt yourself, but you're going to fall down a few times.
Yeah, I saw a quote. It was jump and you'll learn how to spread your wings and fly on the way down, right?
Yeah.
And it's the environment, the culture that when you talk about learning, you empower people to jump. They might not feel like they're ready yet, but they're going to figure it out as they come down.
Yeah, exactly.
And they fail, and because that's how we learn, right? They fail, but it's fail forward.
Yeah.
So how do you teach them to fail forward, get back up and not take it personally?
The best thing, I got something running through my head here is a certain employee had a task and they did something. It was all the way to the end. They were outside of their comfort zone, right? And it was time to do the final thing of it. And that person was so nervous. Oh my gosh, all the responsibilities on me right now. Oh my gosh, this is scary. And for them to see that responsibility, knows that the accountability is already there, right? You don't have to be a manager. People hold themselves self-accountable. They don't want to let you fail, right? They were more scared about, oh no, I don't want to fail here. I don't want to let my company down and my peers down. Now that creates a culture that everybody starts supporting and chicken winging each other, right?
Well, it goes back into extreme ownership, right? It's not just owning my part, it's owning my part, having the mindset and supporting the entire company, because everything I do impacts everyone else. And I don't want this company to fail.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody has that ownership, and we just did a little exercise. They're on the line here, but they're going to love it. Give the leadership team, Angie and I are buried somewhere. Hopefully we're buried in a beach in 10 years or 20 years or wherever it is. And I got this advice from you. And here's you guys are running, here's the keys to the company, put together what you're going to need and how you're going to do it, and sit back and watch. And it was amazing how that group's mind thought of what they're missing, how to do it, what to pull off. It was an amazing exercise. That helped us strategically think forward, right? And them think forward how they're going to, whoa, here's some things we need to start thinking about. And myself and Angie, here's some things we need to start thinking about, that we need to spend more time with people. Super fun exercise. And thanks, Mary, for sharing it with me.
You're welcome. I can't wait to hear all of the strategic points down the road. So you referred me to this book. You recommended this book.
Yep.
And I know you live so many principles of it. So talk to me about how you teach the principles of this book into your company.
That book is so amazing, and I'm so glad that Mike came into my life. It was simply absolutely remarkable that, I had met Mike 10 years ago in a web construction roundtable event on a phone call, I believe. And our industry is commodity based, right? Everybody in the construction industry is driven from you want your sidewalk done at your house, you're going to call 3 contractors, and the guy who's the lowest is who you're going to give the work to, right? Most people are driven by money. How do we change that, right? And that isn't something you can say it's changed overnight. It becomes a culture. And then I know there's other folks in the construction industry on the line that maybe always say they live it, but then they have restraints from their people too, that we can only spend this or only do with the lowest. How do we change that? Mike did an amazing job with that book by changing yourself from a commodity to an oddity. Now, what we found when we start living them principles is that starts to draw the right customers, and not only customers, but the right vendors, not only the right vendors, but the right people within your organization. Now you've created that culture and environment that you maybe asked the question before of what happens. You have to start with change yourself, and you have to live it. And you have to walk it. And sometimes it may be hard decisions for yourself in life or for your business, that you have to walk away from something that maybe financially may impact you. It may hurt you long-term or short-term, but long-term, if you live them values, it really does drive that change. And it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time.
I love that. Changing yourself from a commodity to an oddity. And there's a process in there called the UMAP.
Yes.
So speak to that.
Yeah. So I'm going to encourage everybody to on here, Marion, if you could drop the link on your Facebook or something for these folks. Out of that book became something called UMAP that they created. And what UMAP does is it really lets your people in your organization know that you're more than just the worker that knows how to do tasks. So it has your personal life tied in with your business life, tied in with some things and goals you want to set for your life, that now you have a self-accountable, because the same people you're accountable for work, they're accountable for life. Let's say you're an employee, Mary, and your goal was, you know what, this year I want to climb Mount Everest by the year in 5 years. Okay, what's your path to get there? You got to start training. You got to start doing this, and we're going to hold you accountable along the way. Because if you're succeeding in your personal life and reaching them goals, imagine what you can do professionally.
Well, I've seen a couple of the UMAPs, and I remember a couple of people who showed me were so excited to present it, and they get amazing just because you own it. It's almost like a vision board with what you're saying within the personal and professional, but it allows people to know who you are and what you're about.
Takes that veil down, right? And it allows us to find someone behind their true who they are. We've done some experiments with people and teams on projects that's changes an adversarial relationship to a friendship. And the negotiations and the projects and getting things done and costs all seem to be put aside. They all happen just automatically when you start to know people at another level.
But it starts with you, the leader. So as you're willing to step in and to take the veil down, to be authentic and let your team and the people around you see who you are, it empowers them to do the same. That's
right. That's exactly right. And that's difficult. A lot of people don't want to let their veil down. Mary, you know this for sure in the teachings that you do, how hard it is for some people to break through and get them to there. I admire you for how quick you can do it and some of the things you've done with some people, not only, as I mentioned before, with myself, but also some of my family here at CARMA, of what you've done for them. That's a skill, Mary, that not everybody has. And I still think I'm a practicing doctor in it, or whatever you want to call it. I practice it every day. It doesn't come easy, but it's an amazing tool the more you learn about it.
Well, and it goes back into your breakthrough moments, right? I always say, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. So we have to first want it. And sometimes we don't know that we want it. So we help lead them and guide them to the want it. But the pain of being where you are has to be greater than the pain of the willingness to change, to do the change. Because we like our comfort zones. We like the stability. And there's those two things in life. They say it's either pain or pleasure that motivates us, which I really believe goes back into the breakthrough moments and what creates it. And those breakthrough moments, when you look at the times in your life where you had your major breakthrough moments, I have a feeling that the pain of staying where you were was much greater than the pain it took to do the work.
Or I'm just crazy, one of the two. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it is that. And we spoke about that earlier. We talk about leaving your current situation. I don't think I can ever complain about a situation that I've been in. And maybe that's just because I put myself there and I'm accountable for my own actions. But there's also that I want to know what's on the other side, right?
Mm.
Even though I'm not going to leave my current situation, I'm going to test this. I'm going to try it out. I believe that's what motivates me more than my pain of my current situation. I believe I want to know what it is. What am I shorting myself in life? We only get to go around once. What am I not going to get to see? What am I not going to get to experience? And I think if you can couple that with understanding you're going to fail. Gosh, I failed a lot of times in life. I think we all have, right? So guess what? You're still here. Without failing, where you be where you're at?
So where's the biggest failure that you had the greatest lesson come up out of it?
Oh, gosh. I think it would actually be going to the Dale Carnegie class. I was very, very, very difficult to work with at a younger age. And it was about 25. I think it was one of my first jobs as a superintendent. And I was going to prove to the world that I didn't need anybody and I could take on the world by myself. And I took it so far that the major company that my employer at the time had granted me trust to work for actually said he's not allowed back again. So that's a failure. That's a big failure. I had an opportunity and a chance, didn't approach it right. Going to Dale Carnegie really taught me a lot about myself. That was a huge failure in my life.
So what are you doing now to continue? Because I know that you're a huge advocate of soft skills, huge advocate. So what are you continuing to do to sharpen the saw?
Well, first of all, I'm trying to sharpen people around me. So sending them to a lot of soft skills. I am. So currently every single employee at CARMA has been through your class, Mary. And you see the companies there that say they've been to they're bold companies. They're bold companies and we walk your walk. Our soft skills training continues every day of just our interactions with each other. And it's almost an unwritten rule or training. It's happening every moment, every day when we live our mentality of being all in. And if we decide we want something, we're going to do it. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts that we're going to leave a thing on the table. We go as a team and we go hard, and there's support from every corner. Even if it's somebody isn't the primary on that task, the overwhelming support that comes from living that all-in mentality is so empowering. It's something you can't describe.
Well, and it goes even above what you're doing within CARMA. You personally, you're hungry. You're part of the YPO.
Yep.
Is there any?
Yep. That's a great leadership organization that I've been involved with for 10 years. Great to have them people, and there's overwhelming amount of resources and knowledge. You almost can't take it all in, but allowing the things that I learned to pass them down to our employees and our people are amazing. Continually looking, here we're in a pandemic. Oh no, what are we going to do? Our industry is devastated by 75%. There's no tourists coming to Las Vegas. We build stuff for the tourists. What do we do? Well, you take a look around. If you see my office right now, there's big 3M posted sticky notes in here with, I'll bet you there's 75 ideas on the wall of just different things on how we can pivot our business and continue to grow.
So when things get really tough and you hit a little dark patch, what do you do personally to pull yourself out?
That's a big look in the mirror right there right now, but that goes back to, I was never really terrified. I knew that things were going to be bumpy. Great supporter of my wife for sure. If I do fall off track, Angie will get me right back on it in a second. She's my rock for sure.
Yeah.
But continually looking for something different and trying something new. Hey, we're all in the same boat. We can pivot. We're a smart group of people. We're a team. We're united. We're going to figure this out as good or better and faster than everybody else. How can we differentiate ourselves? How can we pivot our model? Continually that outward thinking constantly every day. And it's nothing that you force yourself to do. It's just something that comes natural. Okay, because there's not a challenge here anymore. I love a challenge. I got to be fighting. And if there's nothing to fight here, I got to go find something to fight with. I got to fight with a new problem, a new challenge, a new journey, something that I can have to stretch my mind and say, boy, this has been going this way in our industry for this years. How can we change that? This was what I thought we were going to do. How do I have to change that? We spent a lot of time over the last 4 or 5 months looking forward and how we're going to change our model. And you have to. We would die in a vine if we didn't. Right. And we have some exciting things that we're working on as a group that I think are going to do that.
Is there anything that you can share of how you've pivoted?
I think I can only share the process of just the brainstorm and saying what's possible and what's not, what's feasible, what's not, and then kind of narrowing them down. But no, I can't really share.
Okay. Okay. All will be known in due time.
Yeah, that's right. All is known in due time.
So you have the brain and the mindset and just your DNA is you love to just hit it hard. You love to problem solve. In fact, sometimes I think you just create things to figure another way to do it. So what happens when you have a team that's not like that? Because Angie's the glue. I really believe Angie's the glue that helps keep you grounded.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely the rock all day long. My mind can get a little scattered and all over the place. And we talk about, you know, we run our business on EOS model, and there's a visionary and an integrator. And a visionary's role is to come up with 1,000 ideas, but only one of them is going to work. The integrator's role is to tell them that the 999,000 are really bad, and we can't do that. So there's a super great balance between Angie and I in our company. So yeah, it's a balance, but always look for the challenge, right? I mean, how can you ever waste your precious days of life and sit idle and just wait for something to happen? Why would we wait? Why would we not create something?
Because people they're afraid.
Especially now, right? Especially now, if you turn on the news, everyone's afraid of living forward, thinking forward. We're going to wait for this. We're going to wait for that. I was so happy when you called me last week and said we have bold scheduled.
I know. I
was
can't
so
wait.
tickled that you called me to tell me that. That is so great because you're thinking forward. How many other people are sitting back waiting? Well, let's see how the election turns out. Well, let's see what this happens. Let's see what happens here. Boy, if we let the noise of our life dictate us, we're in trouble.
And there's so much noise.
There's tons.
It's the willingness to say, I get the noise, I understand it, but it's not going to keep me hamstrung. I'm going to move forward in the face of fear, which creates your breakthrough moments. Because it's the pain of staying, right? Because, and this is you, this is karma, and this is anyone watching. If we stay stuck right now, and we're afraid to take a risk, we're afraid to step out. What if it fails? Well, what? You know what? You haven't done it, so it's failure anyways. What's the worst thing that could happen?
It's so hard to watch people right now and people just living a victim of circumstance. And it's very depressing to see people, and every chance I get, I'll lift them up and say, you got to move forward, right? But there's so many people, and it's all around us. The noise is huge, and this could be this, and yeah, we still have to go forward though. We still have to have a challenge. So we wear a mask. Big deal.
Right.
Big deal. That's going to dictate your life? Come on, let's move on. Let's move on and do the best we can with every day that we're given.
I was listening to a speaker this morning, and I only caught the tail end, but this is kind of the idea of what he was talking about. He said, think about a wagon. You know, a little wagon that's like a little kid is pulling along, the little red wagon. What is the most important part of the wagon? If the wagon were to fall apart, what is the most important part of the wagon?
The person sitting inside of it.
Okay, the person sitting inside of it. Anyone on the chat, what's your ideas? What's the most important part of the wagon? Could be the handle. What happens if the wheels go flat? We have wheels, shields. It's actually the concept. Because without the concept of the wagon, without the understanding of what created the wagon, we could never fix the wheel or the handle or the person who's sitting inside of it. And it was just like it was this wake up moment, right? Because immediately we think of, oh my gosh, I think about, wait, what's the most important? We go immediately to what we think we see, but it's a bigger picture, right? So the wheels are flat right now. You got to go back to the drawing board going, what's the concept? What's my culture? Who are the people who are coming alongside me? What breakout moment do I need to push through so that I can move to the other side? And guess what? If I fail, it's okay. I can get back up and I can do it again. And I can do it again. And I can do it again.
That's right.
So I'm actually going to open this up for if people have questions for you. please put that in the Q&A. And if you're open, I would love to bring you live to make this more interactive so you can ask Chris, or even if you have a comment towards him. But I would love just to, what ideas or what message would you like to get out to people, especially in this day and age, what's going on? And you're in the construction industry.
Yeah, my message is live forward, man. You got to keep moving. We got to keep moving, keep going. And I mentioned a second ago, don't be a victim of a circumstance, right? Just don't do it. Live your life. Don't allow others to dictate it for you.
So how are you moving forward?
Well, rise about 4 o'clock every morning and come up with different ideas for the day. Move forward as hard as you can to find every opportunity to be able to think forward. So hard right now, and it's so hard in others, and even people in a great culture. Oh my gosh, how do we move forward with this? Hey, let's have some fun with this. Got some crazy stuff we're doing here at Karma I can't share, but you know what? I got smiles and innovation coming out in people, which is amazing. And we can all do that. We can do it with our families. There's always another way.
So one of your taglines is "We build fun." So what does that mean?
Yeah, so when we set up the company, we build fun. Obviously it fits. We work and live in here in Las Vegas here, and how proud it is to see people come and spend their money in tourist destination and around fun environments that we build fun. We build a volcano, we build a restaurant, we build a nightclub, but also it has a hidden meaning. It means we build fun inside of our group, inside of our team, the people that are here. Myself, Angie, our whole leadership team, we embrace that. We're trying to build fun. This is where we spend more time awake. This is where we spend more time sleeping than awake. We're here, less away from our families. Man, let's make it the best place we can and have a blast with it. And by doing that, you can see it draws the passion of people out to really enjoy. We're coming to work every day.
I have a question for you. So as a leader, and I know that people who are watching here, a lot of them run teams, run companies. How do you let go of the rope? Meaning you want to build a team. Maybe they're not quite ready, but you need to empower. It's the delegating with the leash. It's important to you, especially when you own your own company. How do you delegate? How do you let go?
Yeah, there's a great exercise in the EOS model called Delegate and Elevate. And it puts stuff in like 4 different categories. Stuff I have to do, but I don't like to do. Things I'm really good at, but I don't like to do them. And you find out you have to start letting go of them little tasks first, right? The little things that, oh my gosh, you come in and find, why am I doing this? Why am I answering this email today when somebody else could do it for me? That would be a stretch. Why am I doing this financial statement? Whatever it may be, that things that you do that you're really not passionate about, but there's somebody else around you who is passionate about it and isn't getting a chance to do it. So it takes over time, and it takes to evolve. Now, of course, we all have tasks that we do that we don't like to do. But when you can find as a leader, you can start letting go of some of them, and somebody else is embracing having that responsibility. It grows not only me, but it grows them as well. And it grows continually until there's always a new task that somebody doesn't like to do. But if I spend my time, or that person spends their time on something that is a mundane task or something that's elementary that you don't like to do, when there's somebody else who does like to do it, boy, we just both grew together, right?
So what happens if there's something you absolutely love to do and you're passionate about it and it's your company, but you have hired a rock star who that is their passion and that's actually their strength, and they even have the ability to do it even bigger, better? How do you let go of that?
Oh, that is so easy for me, Mary. I truly embrace the success of other people. It is so neat to see. There's still going to be a place where they're uncomfortable. And as a leader, you try to find what that is and shore it up and reinforce it, but continue to let them go as far as they can go until they need help.
I love it. So you're one of those forward thinkers that you can let go. You can let go of the thing that's yours.
Easier said than done.
Okay, I was just checking.
Yeah, easier said than done, but absolutely. And I think that's a struggle with all great leaders and a lot of leaders. to be able to let go. It's difficult. And that leads back to the scary part, that when you're not letting go, who are you hurting from their breakout moment and their chance? So that becomes a whole nother thought of, I don't want to let go of this because I'm the only one who can do it right. And it has to go through me. I have to do it. To you just stop somebody from their chance and a chance for you to go forward as well.
That's powerful. So good. So a real life story. Who's your biggest success story that you've helped groom?
I got a better story. I got one that I wanted to share here here's a plunger. I'm going to tell you a story about a plunger. So our first job that Karma had was Chrome Hearts over at the Wynn. An amazing story. We got to go build this really great, for a startup company to do their first project at the Wynn in Las Vegas. It was pretty unique. Angie and I were pretty proud of it. And this was a very, very high-end project, high-end millwork that the owner was supplying all of his millwork. And that's a scary thought in alone that, oh my gosh, I had to deal with. And usually a lot of this stuff comes from overseas. So we took it upon ourselves to go to California, see their factory and go, gosh, these guys have done it before. It looks like they got their stuff together. We should be okay. We go through the project, an amazing group of people to work with. Project's about done. Tear down the ceiling. I don't like it. I want to change it. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of extra money they spent for this. And adding 30% to a construction project is absolutely absurd. Are you sure you want to tear this down? It's fine. Nope, this is the way we want it. We're going to do it. And we went through the project. Super great team, owner to work for, just a great experience for all of us. And we were invited to the grand opening of Chrome Hearts. And I got to meet Peter Stark, who's the owner of Chrome Hearts. And I think they got 35 or 36 stores across the world. And Angie and I were lucky enough to be able to meet Peter there that night. And he was such an amazing guy. He took time away from all his paparazzi and people taking pictures of him to come truly sit and talk with Angie and I. And we just was amazing. And he find out, oh my gosh, he started the business with his wife too. How cool is that? And this guy is just like true to the salt of the earth man. And hey man, you've been in business with your wife. What's the story of success? He says, first of all, hire the right people and pay them what they deserve. And it was, wow, that's so cool. And we had a great time, and we walked away, said, nice to meet you, Mr. Stark. And we went over to the lounge to have a drink and kind of celebrate the night. And says, man, I feel obligated. I want to go back and buy something from Chrome Hearts. So, to support him, right? Because he did not one single time during this whole project did he ask for a dime back on anything. We were being our transparent selves, and he didn't even check us. It was just an automatic relationship of person to person. So here I go back to the store, and I can't find anything in the store under $1,000. I wanted to buy a vest. They were $5,000. I wanted to buy a pair of shoes. They were $6,000. So I found this plunger sitting in their display case that has a little thing that says Chrome Hearts on it. And that was the cheapest thing, and it was $1,000.
Oh my gosh, $1,000 plunger.
So it was listed for $1,000, and I offered him $500 for it, and the guy wouldn't take it. This was not Peter, but it was one of his salespeople. Nope, full price, full price, full price. So I was glad to pay full price. Paid full price, took it back and showed Angie I bought a plunger for $1,000. I thought divorce papers were coming the next day, but then the story came out. Pay yourself your value and don't undervalue yourself. So we paid for $1,000. I asked them to lower the price. They wouldn't. He taught values through all of his people in his organization.
Oh,
so we have a $1,000 plunger. And that's my story to remind everybody here and everybody I know, don't devalue yourself because you're worth it.
That is so powerful. What a way to end this. Like, so good. And we do that in life. A lot of times people undervalue, and we take whatever someone says, but when you just say, no, this is who I am and I'm going to value me, there's your pleasure.
That's right. You talked about culture, and that's how it starts to create it, right? Mm-hmm. Teaching people to value themselves. And this is one thing that we have that I'll sit on my shelf all the time.
Wow. And Chris, I just want to say again, just thank you for who you are. So blessed, so grateful to know you and Angie. It's been so exciting just to see the shift, the change, not even change. It's stepping into who you are. Because when I met you 2.5 years ago, this was still the man that I saw. And you just kept stepping in more and more and confident. And even though sometimes you were scared, you know, you can say the word, you know, you still kept moving forward. And then there'd be a win. And then it'd be like, oh boy. And then there'd be a win. It'd be like, oh, what are we doing? And then it was just like, whoo. And then the pandemic. But the thing is that you and Angie and the team that you have created, that plunger, this is you. They know your value. The people in your community know your value because you don't devalue yourself. And you're one of the most authentic, humble leaders I know. And I am just so grateful that you showed up in my life. So grateful.
Thanks, Mary.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Judy said, I'm so proud of my son-in-law and daughter. And Karen says, I love you both. So I can't wait to see your next steps. I can't wait to hear what's happening because you are truly helping change what's going on. And I will see you in September, my friend.
Sounds good. Thanks,
All
Mary.
right. You're welcome. Have a great rest of your afternoon, everyone.